I'm Laurie Fitz, your host, and our show is about exploring a wide range of topics that challenge us to see ourselves, our community, and the world around us in ways that get us thinking, connected, more aware, and perhaps gaining a wider perspective. Our show hosts many artists and art organizations because I believe the artistic lens allows us to experience the world in ways for us to more fully reach our many ranges of emotion, taking us on a journey of discovery that can inform, enrich, and empower. Well, my friends, this has been a tough week. As we prepare to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr.'s message of the beloved community, we are faced with bigotry, ignorance, and a total lack of empathy from our highest office in the land. I want to believe that our society can and should be so much better than the arrogance, vulgarity, and cruelty that Trump exhibits day in and day out. We need to fight this violence of the heart, and I do see it as a violence of the heart. We need to find our moral compass to navigate our way out of the narrow confines of our Puritan-fueled, white, Eurocentric, elitist path and discover Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision of what it means to be in a beloved community. And we can do something. Sometimes we feel like there's nothing that can be done. It's all just crashing down around us. But we can be part of art. And we can be ambassadors and invite others to be part of art, because art can be a compass that allows us to discover. And today we are having a very important conversation on art and events that are coming up that address our human connectedness and ways to celebrate better loving choices. So we have Michael John Peace, who's the Executive Director of Park Square Theater, and Christopher Tykalo, who is the Executive Director of the Minnesota LGBTA One Voice Mixed Chorus. Welcome.
Good morning.
What a pleasure to be here.
So glad you're here. And I love the events coming up. You've got some amazing artistic opportunities for us to celebrate so many different ways that we can be inclusive and support love versus violence.
Oh, indeed. That's what it's all about.
What I'd like to first do is learn more about your whole season. We're going to start with Park Square, and Michael John's going to be telling us about the whole season, but then we're going to get to their upcoming show, The Cardboard Piano, that poses the moral question about our capacity of love greater than violence. So, and we'll also, later in the show, I want to make sure you all know about this, we're going to be learning about the One Voice concert Sanctuary, and that celebrates our rich Minnesota voices of immigrants and the stories they bring and how they completely add and create more to our tapestry of culture. And learning about that and connecting to that is a privilege and an opportunity that I want to share with you all about. So Park Square mission is to enrich our community by producing and presenting exceptional live theater that touches the heart, engages the mind, and delights the spirit.
Indeed. And we'll be doing all of those things in 2018.
Wonderful.
So I know we'll talk more about Cardboard Piano in depth.
Right.
But it's a wonderful, compelling, brand new play, new to this market.
Midwest premiere. Right?
Yes, indeed. So that is going into previews very soon. Soon and very soon, teching this weekend.
Yeah.
And then we're off. You know, we also need some just fun.
Yes.
So we need to get a different earworm in our head. So the Pirates of Penzance, our first ever foray into the world of Gilbert and Sullivan, starting February 9th.
Well, this is kind of special because I remember on our last show when we all were together, we were getting ready for your Pirates of Penzance at One Voice.
Yes, we were.
So the pirates continue.
Exactly. This time the Pirates will be indoors.
Okay.
We thought that would be good, rather than the Ice Palace. So we've got a fantastic cast: Bradley Greenwald, Christina Baldwin, Max Watanowitz, and a fantastic premise. So we're used to the really big productions like One Voice with their chorus of more than 100. And this is 9 actors often playing instruments themselves.
Oh, how fun.
But the setup is based in history. Gilbert and Sullivan rushed to New York to open their new show, and they forgot part of the script and had to rework it on the boat. So we've set the whole thing on the boat on the way here.
Quick, we have a rewrite.
Who remembers what? Yes. And actually, historically, that is the version of Pirates that they wrote over on the boat that has been done ever since.
Oh,
not
really?
the original version that they did in London.
Oh,
So,
how
yeah.
wonderful.
So that's for Pure Delight, February 9th through March 25th. And then we're kind of back into, I think, the heart of our mission with our remount of A Raisin in the Sun, which we're doing during the day for schools and at night for those of us who want to touch that story of the younger family.
Loved it last
Yeah.
year. Just amazing.
And then we have not done a public performance of the Diary of Anne Frank in quite a while, and we'll be doing a couple of weekends of that this April. It's such a timely story. This is, we've been presenting this for almost 20 years, and it is more timely now than at any time in our history of its production, that's for sure. And then we end the season with just a wonderful romp. It's a very smart send-up, which sometimes can be satirical, but this is to send up all the things we love about Sherlock Holmes. Ken Ludwig's Baskerville. So we've got 5 actors, mostly young, quite diverse in themselves, and they play 40 characters.
Oh, my.
So just the sheer theatricality is
A lot
a
of-
great way to go into the summer.
A lot of shape-shifting.
Yes, for sure. And then we've got 2 of our favorite companies on the Boss stage. First, Flying Foot Forum, Joe Koala with his French Twist, 25th anniversary music and dance and theater piece. And then a world premiere from our friends at Moo Performing Arts, which the title may put you off, but go with me. The Korean Drama Addict's Guide to Losing Your Virginity. It's actually a Hmong story, but this young Hmong woman, like most Asian Americans and many across the world, is addicted to Korean drama. They're soap operas.
Well, I used to go to a Korean barbecue right off of University.
Oh, sure.
And they had the Korean soap operas up. And I have to tell you, even when you don't know the language, you do get sucked in. Right.
Yeah, so in this play, you kind of go in and out of sort of the reality and then their fantasy world that all the characters are living through the Korean drama. That's fun.
You kind of feel like you're in a fantasy world when you're watching a
Yes.
Korean barbecue a soap opera. So that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
So you've got a full season. What I love is that you have such a nice variety. And I often encourage our audience to think not just in going to one show. One show's great and enjoy and then tell us what you think of it. But I think you get the whole character and flavor of your theater when you participate in all of them. They kind of almost inform each other.
Oh, for sure. And 3-show packages are always available.
Good.
And after all, once you figure out where to park when the Wild is playing, why do you want to lose that information? Just come back and come back again.
Well, I do like to do that. And I also like to come down and eat beforehand. There's some wonderful restaurants right around that area. And
And in fact, right
a lovely
across from
night.
us, a place, we always think of the really fancy restaurants in St. Paul. Afro Deli just won an award from the St. Paul Chamber, a Dubner Award for diversity and innovation. And it's great, quick, wonderful food from a variety of places, but particularly the African experience. Yeah, it's great.
Well, speaking of the African experience, as
You
a
picked
segue,
up on my segue,
There we
yes.
go. As a segue, tell me about Cardboard Piano.
This show, when I heard the reading just at the very first rehearsal, you can't believe what's happening. It's so compelling. So it is set in a place of sanctuary, giving you another segue for later.
There we go.
It's in a missionary church in Uganda at midnight on New Year's Eve, 1999. And so here's a place where 2 young women have stolen in to have a secret wedding ceremony. The white daughter of the missionary pastor and her Ugandan girlfriend. And we'll talk later about what a dangerous statement this is now, let alone then. And they get interrupted by a child soldier who is seeking sanctuary. And that moment could be a whole play, but it really goes on from there about how what is our capacity to be forgived and to forgive, and the partitions we put up in ourselves where we can forgive for one thing and not another. So it's just, but it's such a human, intimate story, and it's in the. I know one of the things the cast has talked about is how do they bring the outside of the Ugandan Civil War into this church, because we're seeing it all through the lens of this very intimate story playing out among these 4 actors who play 7 different characters between the 2 acts. But they're all linked. And then it's not a mystery, but then that's part of the fun theatrically is to see, oh, all right, now you're this character now, and how does that relate to the character you were in the first act? But it's, so that was their challenge, how to bring the sweep of that political crisis into this church.
And as I've been reading about this and the author, I'm intrigued with her vision of how it comes together in terms of spirituality, our faith choices. How does faith inform our moral compass?
Yeah.
And how do the different perceptions of faith and religion conflict?
And when is a church a sanctuary for all, and when is it a sanctuary for some? But I don't, I know I get a sense of your listeners, but I do want to say too, if you're a member of a faith community as I am, this is, it's not, the church is not on trial.
Right.
It's really about the center of things, about how we navigate our spirituality and our faith. Yeah.
And how do we create empathy for others in terms of understanding their faith base, and what does that look like? And it's, from everything I read, it doesn't sound judgmental.
No, not at all. But it definitely, and I think one of the wonderful things about theater is you get to be in someone else's life. But this is far enough away that you can look at your own life, but it's not too close, right? It's in another country 20 years ago, gives you some distance.
Well, we'll be talking some more about cardboard piano in our next segment. And if you want to learn more about that, you can go to parksquaretheater.org during this short intermission where we're having some ads. And we'll be right back, and we'll talk more about that. And if you want to give us a call, I'll give the phone number when we get right back.
Stop. Pop quiz time. What did you have for breakfast today? What are you having for dinner this evening? Chances are you can answer both of these questions. Unfortunately, there are nearly 200,000 children in Minnesota who can't. Hands and Feet was formed on the belief that children deserve better. We make custom inspiring apparel and donate 50% of our profits to programs which fight childhood hunger. Visit us at yourhandsandfeet.com and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at yourhandsandfeet to join the fight to end childhood hunger.
One Voice Mixed Chorus, Minnesota's LGBTA chorus, returns to the Ordway Concert Hall for Sanctuary, an unforgettable evening of choral music celebrating the music of immigrants who make Minnesota home, including Scandinavian, German, Irish, Mexican, Hmong, and Somali. One Voice will also perform You Will Be Found for Broadway's Dear Evan Hansen and I Come From Good People. That's at the Ordway Concert Hall Friday, January 19th and Sunday, January 21st. Call 651-224-4222 or check out onevoicemn.org for tickets today.
Want to see someone walk through a wall of Jell-O? Want to find out what playwrights do when you make them write about hidden chili peppers? Come to Theater Unbound 24-hour Extreme Theater Smackdown. 6 new short plays written within 24 hours featuring fearless women theater artists using ingredients voted on by you, the public. Saturday, January 13th, 8 p.m. at Stepping Stone Theater in St. Paul. Visit theaterunbound.com to purchase tickets and vote on ingredients. Theater Unbound, the women's theater.
Now on display at the Museum of Russian Art is an exhibition of beautiful icons and sacred art from the 19th century called Russian Sacred Art, Connecting Heaven and Earth. Liturgical music from the best Russian choirs gently accompanies your experience of these pillars of spiritual life. Open daily and with free parking, Timora is the easiest museum to get to in Minneapolis, so plan your visit today at tmora.org. That is tmora.org.
The great magician Philip Winterbottom cordially requests your presence for his final disappearing act.
Sadly, he's dead. So he won't be there.
But he's left very clear magical instructions. On tour from London, Single Shoe Productions presents A Disappearing Act.
A unique, interactive, magic-filled comedy.
Come take part in a special memorial service you won't soon forget.
Capacity is limited, so get your tickets now for A Disappearing Act.
At the Southern Theatre this January 25th through 28th.
Tickets available at southerntheatre.org.
Learn about wine, learn about yourself. How? With the Wine Fate fortune-telling cards. 24 cards, each explaining a different wine grape that can be read like tarot cards, only easy. It's a unique, fun new way to explore the wine world and get a glimpse of your future. Uncork your destiny. Find out what the Wine Fate fortune-telling cards can tell you. Love, money, success, or what wine to have with dinner. Great for a party or a girls' night. Order your deck now by going to winefate.com. That's winefate.com.
Welcome back. I'm Lori Fitz, and we're glad you're here today. And we're hoping that you'll give us a call at 952-946-6205, and we'll talk about art, we'll talk about plays, we'll talk about the Sanctuary concert coming up, and we have two amazing guests that are with us today that you can talk with as well. Michael John Peace, who is the executive director of Park Square Theater, and we have Christopher Tykalo, who is the executive director of the Minnesota LGBTA One Voice Mixed Chorus.
Correct.
Welcome to you both. Now, we started in our last segment, you gave a nice overview of all the plays coming up, and then we started to talk about Cardboard Piano that opens January 19th and runs through February 18th by Hansel Jung, directed by Signe V. Haraday.
Indeed.
Drama is going to be at the Andy Boss, and this is a Midwest premiere.
It is indeed. We actually had a group of donors and subscribers at the Louisville Actors Theater Humana Festival of New Plays 2 years ago see this with our artistic director. And after the first act at intermission, they were like, we have to do this play. This is so compelling. And then someone said, new plays often fall down in the second act. And they're like, it doesn't matter. The second act could suck. We still need to do this play. And then the second act, because they thought, where's it going?
Yeah.
And then it went new places. So, yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Couldn't wait. It was immediately after the curtain came down, we were emailing the agent for the playwright.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, in case you missed in the first segment, the play is about, it's set in northern Uganda, and it's about our capacity for love versus violence and how a missionary and a local teenage girl steal into a candlelit church to exchange vows in a secret wedding ceremony. But there's some challenges in having that ceremony take place.
And I think in this country we can understand, we have a sense of homophobia, but it seems in the past, particularly very violent homophobia, even though it's not. But for the general public, especially in our Twin Cities bubble, it can seem like, how real is that? And in Uganda, homophobia is much more like institutional racism and sexism here. It's in the air people breathe. They don't even know they're doing it. And so it swings back and forth, and there are these times where not only would this young Ugandan woman would her life be in danger if it was found out she was a lesbian, but her entire family, their house could be burned, they would lose their jobs. I mean, it swings back, and about every 10 years there's just intense violence around it, but it's there all the time. So we have two characters, the two women in the first act, and then we have a young man in the second act, who are risking everything to be who they are. And they're coming into this church, which in the first act, on the eve of the new millennium, is a missionary church. And 15 years later, when we visit this same sanctuary, the same building, it's now a Ugandan church. And we become very surprised at who has become the pastor of it, this Ugandan man. And so it does interweave the civil strife there and all that social upheaval, and puts it, because one of the characters is a white American woman who's the daughter of these idealistic missionaries, right up against what we as AM 950 listeners think of as the way you would move forward in that situation, because we don't have an understanding of how deeply ingrained that homophobia is and that social strife is. Yeah.
Well, it's also interesting because I think a lot of, there's a lot of people out there that don't know much about Uganda. And we know that it's over there, but we don't really understand the strife that's going on. Not only is there gay marriage challenges, but children are being recruited to be soldiers.
Yeah.
And are being recruited to kill and mutilate and do horrendous things. And how do we square ourselves in terms of being able to know about that and confront that and have a caring vigilance about it. And I understand that on one of the performances, the Sundays at the 28th, you'll be having a guest of the Center for the Victim of Torture.
Yes, they're our lead partners for this production because they actually had psychologists come to speak with the cast about treating people who've been through the trauma that these characters represent and how does that play out. And their executive director, Kurt Goring, is going to give a talk on their work in Uganda and kind of the current situation there at 1 o'clock on Sunday, January 28th. And that's included with your ticket, and we're going to give away a pair of tickets for that performance here today.
Yep. We're going to let you start calling at the end of this segment. So
be ready.
As we go to commercial, I'll give that phone number again.
Excellent.
But yeah, we're going to be giving tickets away now. The play starts at 2 o'clock.
Correct.
But it's a pre-show, isn't it?
Right.
And so, what time should folks get there if they're going?
1 o'clock.
1
yeah.
o'clock for the pre-show discussion.
Yeah, because the show itself is definitely about the emotion and the heart and the spirit of what these characters are going on. So it's not something where you'll walk. So that's what you'll walk away with an understanding of and how it connects to you. But you don't learn about Uganda. It's not preachy or didactic that way. It really is a great, gripping story. And I think at the end, it really leaves you, it doesn't give you a sugar-coated ending, right? Nothing is ending happily or easily for these characters, but it does give you this great capacity for hope. Yeah.
I think stories give us access to understanding crises in a different way. I mean, we can read the crisis in a very journalistic, documentary style, but when we get inside someone's own story, I think the humanitarian crisis takes on a texture and a depth that allows us to relate to something, even if it's not all laid out for us. I think the story may give us more reason to want to understand and want to learn more and want to support change.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this is a show that'll definitely having you chewing over it long after the show over a glass of wine or what have you, and sending you to the internet to learn more, right?
One of the things that I've posted on Facebook is about the night commuters. And I'm not sure if that's mentioned in the play much, but children between 8 and 14, referred to as night commuters, could walk up to 20 kilometers to find places of safety and to hide, and they would do this. There's up to 40,000 children that fled their homes in the countryside to sleep in relative safety in a town that would let them in.
Right, exactly. And so that's the case of this child soldier that we meet in the first act. And then in the second act, when he's grown up, to get a sense of how you start to navigate your life after you've been forced to commit atrocities, right? And so that's, it's just fascinating and rich, and it just flies by. I mean, you watch this play or listen to this play and you think, that was 90 minutes? I think it's like 10 minutes. I want more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, again, I want to encourage our audience to go see this show. And to buy tickets, you can go to parksquaretheater.org. Or is it .com?
.org.
.org. I did get it right the first time. Parksquaretheater.org. You can read about the play. You can share it with friends. One that's important, and I also encourage you to think about coming to the day with the Center for Victims of Torture and be part of being progressive, doing something.
Well, and I know you were a volunteer with them.
Yep.
I went to their fundraising breakfast. They do amazing work.
Yes.
That you just think it's impossible to take on, and yet they do, and they make such change for people. So
Absolutely.
it's great
Even
to
before
partner.
I started working on this radio show, I was going out and making presentations at colleges and high schools. So it's something near and dear to my heart.
See the drama, and then come back for Pirates of Penzance for the palate cleanser.
Absolutely, absolutely. So call in for your free tickets. There are 2 tickets that are being given away. The number is 952-946-6205. Again, that number is 952-946-6205. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. We'll be right back, and we'll learn more about Sanctuary, brought to us by the One Voice Chorus. Located in the vibrant Lynn Lake neighborhood in Minneapolis, the Jungle Theater sparks meaningful dialogue through compelling stories, meaningful acting, and exquisite design. The Jungle is more than just a theater, though. It's a community that inspires empathy and reflects our changing world. This winter, experience the magic of the Jungle with a duet of dynamic one-person plays. First is Ishmael, in which one actor gives a tour de force of the many voices of Herman Melville's classic novel Moby Dick, accompanied by members of the bluegrass band Pert Near Sandstone. Ishmael is on stage January 13th through February 4th. Next up, from February 10th through March 4th, is New York Times critics' pick My Mother Has Four Noses, written and performed by acclaimed singer-songwriter Jonathan Brooke. This show is the beautiful and heartbreaking tale of Jonathan's final 2 years together with her mother, who was battling Alzheimer's. Buy your tickets now by going to jungletheater.com or treat yourself to a subscription for the 2018 season by calling the box office at 612-822-7063. Want to see someone walk through a wall of Jell-O? Want to find out what playwrights do when you make them write about hidden chili peppers? Come to Theater Unbound 24-hour Extreme Theater Smackdown. 6 new short plays written within 24 hours featuring fearless women theater artists using ingredients voted on by you, the public. Saturday, January 13th, 8 p.m. at Stepping Stone Theater in St. Paul. Visit theaterunbound.com to purchase tickets and vote on ingredients. Theater Unbound, the women's theater.
One Voice Mixed Chorus, Minnesota's LGBTA chorus, returns to the Ordway Concert Hall for Sanctuary, an unforgettable evening of choral music celebrating the music of immigrants who make Minnesota home, including Scandinavian, German, Irish, Mexican, Hmong, and Somali. One Voice will also perform You Will Be Found for Broadway's Dear Evan Hansen and I Come From Good People. That's at the Ordway Concert Hall Friday, January 19th and Sunday, January 21st. Call 651-224-4222 or check out onevoicemn.org for tickets today.
All of us want to make a difference. As veterans, we committed to protect our country. We served and sacrificed for the things that mattered most. Those experiences shaped our lives, even if it isn't always obvious to those around us. And now that we've served, our commitments have taken on a new meaning. We're husbands, wives, parents, friends, and neighbors, but sometimes we still feel alone. We forget that our biggest challenge can be to ask for support when we need it. The Veterans Crisis Line is here for all veterans, service members, and their loved ones. Dial 1-800-273-8255 and press 1. Chat online at veteranscrisisline.net or text 838-255. It matters.
With your AM 950 weather, this is Eric Nelson. Today will be sunny and cold with a high near 4 and wind chill values as low as -18. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low around -7 and wind chill values of -16. Tomorrow will be snowy with highs of 15 and wind chills of -15.
Don't miss the Home Improvement and Design Expo this Saturday at Canterbury Park in Shakopee. See up to 150 home improvement experts. The Home Improvement and Design Expo this Saturday only at Canterbury Park. It's the smart place to start your home improvement project. See it all at expoguys.com. That's expoguys.com.
Welcome back to Connections. We've been having a great morning. We've been talking with our dear friend Michael John Peace, who is the executive director of Park Square Theater. Learned about their season, about their show coming up, Cardboard Piano, and The Sanctuary.
Yes.
That is part of the play, and which is a wonderful segue to also have Christopher Tykalo, who is the executive director of One Voice, talk about the upcoming concert, Sanctuary, that will be at the Ordway. And there's also a free concert, isn't there, as well?
That is correct, yes. As a matter of fact, our free concert is tonight at Faith Mennonite Church in Minneapolis.
Yep, I've got it down as 2720 East 22nd Street, and the doors open at 7 p.m.
That is correct, for a 7:30 performance.
Terrific. So you got to get there early to grab your spot.
Absolutely.
So tell me about this wonderful concert.
So, Sanctuary. So our artistic director, after the election of 2016, when He Who Shall Not Be Named was elected, was really horrified by many of the things that the administration has been talking about and doing and saying and attempting to do.
Well, from the get-go, from the time he went down the escalator.
Right, exactly.
The first words out of his mouth did not seem to embrace the immigration that we hold dear.
Exactly. And so our artistic director, Jane Ramsire Miller, really wanted to create a concert around celebrating and exploring the musical cultures of the immigrants who have made Minnesota home. So we are performing music that is some of your traditional German, Scandinavian, Irish pieces, but then we're also performing pieces. We're performing a piece in Hmong. We're performing a piece in Somali. And so it's really celebrating just the rich heritage of the immigrants who have made Minnesota home.
Well, when I read your press release, and it was delightful, I saw, of course, the Scandinavian, the Irish, but the idea of some of the early African-American music coming here because of the Underground Railroad that brought them here to Minnesota.
Yes, that is correct, too.
That's a powerful link for me to know that we were part of creating a pathway to freedom.
Absolutely.
And the songs that celebrate that.
So yes, as a matter of fact, one of my personal favorites is "We Shall Not Be Moved," which will be part of this concert. People may remember that piece from last year's concert that we performed about openly gay African American activist Bayard Rustin, and so really glad to be visiting that piece again.
And tell me about Green Voices.
So Green Card Voices, so they are a nonprofit. Their mission is to share stories of our nation's 40 million immigrants and put a human face to the current immigration debate. And so we've been working with them. They actually just recently won. They took a number of these stories and they published a book that recently just won an award. I don't recall the award off the top of my head, but they will be. They'll be at the concert. They'll have their display in the lobby at the Ordway, and they'll be selling books as well. And it's been a great partnership. We have a couple of young queer students who are going to be sharing their own stories of immigration and coming to this country. And so I think that just adds such an intriguing layer to the performances.
So there'll be storytelling interspersed with the music that folks are singing.
Exactly. Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about the Hmong music.
So one of the pieces that we're performing is a piece called Reunion. And it was actually written by a couple of students who graduated from Central High School in St. Paul.
Nice.
And we had a young man, Yufeng Zhang, who actually went to Johnson High School and is now a student at the U of M, help come in and work with the chorus on their Hmong pronunciation. And so it's been, and we've brought other people from various immigrant cultures in to work with the chorus to make sure that the pronunciations are correct and accurate.
Oh, wonderful. And you mentioned that there's Somali music.
So yes, we will be performing what was the Somali national anthem up until the year 2012. Apparently, there's a new anthem that is now performed, but that piece will be performed as part of the concert.
And there's Paul Bunyan.
Yes.
So tell me about Paul. And now going from Somali's national anthem back to our roots of Paul Bunyan, I understand there's a lumberjack chorus?
Yes, there is a lumberjack chorus.
What the heck is that?
That is part of the operetta that Benjamin Britten wrote.
Okay.
And it'll be a lot of fun. So...
It sounds wonderful. So tell me about, have you heard all of the music? Have you listened in? Have you snuck into rehearsals? How's it going?
I've snuck into a few rehearsals. I've heard some of the music, not all of it, but it's going great. It's going great. We just performed at Augsburg University a couple of days ago for one of our Out in Our Schools programs, the day that we were supposed to get the really big storm, and everyone was wondering what's going to happen with the weather. And we had a great performance that day, and it was great to see, to have a lot of young people come and experience us.
What was their reaction in looking and sensing how they were receiving the music? What did you sense?
It was a really powerful response. There was a young woman in particular who I think was there were a couple of moments that I noticed where this particular student was really moved. The first instance I'm recalling is when we sang the Somali national anthem, and then also when after we performed a piece called "You Will Be Found," which is from a new Broadway musical called Dear Evan Hansen. I have to confess I'm not as familiar with the musical as I would like to be. I am certainly looking forward to seeing it when it comes to town. But it's supposed to be a really powerful work that has really taken Broadway by storm. And that piece in particular I think really speaks to people.
And impacted this young woman?
Yes, absolutely.
Is there a song that really resonated with you and helped you gain a maybe wider perspective of our immigrant state that we have?
Well, there are a couple that I can think of. The Somali national anthem is beautiful and quite wonderful. You Will Be Found is a piece that I personally found really, really moving as a member of the LGBT community. Plus, there's another piece that is performed as part of the concert is a piece called "I Come From Good People," which is from a larger work that is about the LGBT experience and.
Biological family and found family?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, finding your family and finding yourself, I think, is really important.
It's so Minnesotan. We're good people. I come from good people. I think of that as so Midwestern and dear and strong.
Exactly.
So, in creating this piece. How, are you hoping that you'll reach out to, the whole community, come on down and sell out? And do you have some sense on how sales are going? And
so sales are strong, but we certainly have seats available, and we would love to see as many people at our concerts as possible. It was interesting. The other day, I was reading an article about the Somali community in Minnesota, and particularly the LGBT Somali community. And there is quite a strong LGBT community amongst the Somali community, but the challenge is that the LGBT Somali community is finding it challenging to integrate within the larger LGBT community.
Interesting.
And the article really struck me, and I hope that we will see some young LGBT Somali people join us because we
join the
really,
one voice.
Yes, because we really want to welcome as many people into the community as we can.
Well, I also want to give a shout out to our Minnesota State Representative, Ahim Omar. She is the first Somali American to be elected to our state state legislation. Our state office. There we go. She's a state rep, all right? Our state legislature in all of America. So we've got leadership here. She was pretty taken aback by the comments of our president. And I just want to share this statement that she made. I am not ashamed of the country where I was born. I am not ashamed to call myself an American now. I am a proud immigrant, refugee, Minnesotan, and a proud state legislator. But make no mistake, I am ashamed, disturbed, and outraged that the leader of the United States can't see beyond his own embarrassing privilege and embrace the diversity that has made this country great for generations. I bring that up because I want us to do something. I want us to be able to make a statement that we are proud of our immigrants and that we are proud of our Minnesota immigrants.
Absolutely.
And that this opportunity to come to this concert, yes, wonderful cultural opportunity to learn about all of our rich texture and our tapestry of cultures. But I think it's also a way to stand up and say we're proud. This is something that we can do as an advocacy in the face of vulgarity, that we love our immigrants and we are immigrants here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, and I have to say that with this particular concert, I mean, we really hope that people will take action.
Mm-hmm.
We have specific information in the program that we're asking our audience members to go out and do. For example, get to know your neighbors who are immigrants. Support immigrant businesses.
Mm-hmm.
It's so critical. Read books by immigrant authors. Talk to your friends and family about these issues. It's so interesting. So the U.S. government is spending $2.1 billion on 4 new immigrant detention centers, and one of them is being planned for Minnesota.
No, that must not be. We must not let that happen.
No, we shouldn't let that happen.
Right,
Absolutely. Right. And there are so many ways to get involved. Get involved with the ACLU, get involved with Isaiah, get involved with the Interfaith Coalition on Immigration. For they have a monthly faith action vigils at the Ramsey County Detention Center.
And you're also posting on your website. You're keeping that updated, ways for folks to do something.
So yes, absolutely.
And that's onevoicemn.org.
Correct.
And I encourage you to not only go to the concert, but keep up with the advocacy that is being offered through One Voice, a wonderful organization. So I want to make sure you all know January 19th at 7:30 at the Ordway Concert Hall. Also, they're doing it January 21st at 3:30, and tonight, free concert. But get there early. It's at the Faith Mennonite Church, 2720 East 22nd Street. And we'll be talking some more about One Voice, so stay tuned.
Our journey of hands and feet started when I learned about a 4-year-old boy in my class who'd been going without lunch for the first 3 months of the school year. The fact is, he's one of nearly 200,000 children in Minnesota who face hunger on a daily basis. Hands and Feet was formed on the belief that children deserve better. We make custom, inspiring apparel and donate 50% of our profits to programs which fight childhood hunger. Visit us at yourhandsandfeet.com and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Your Hands and Feet to join the fight to end childhood hunger.
Stages Theater Company is dedicated to creating a space where diverse opinions, courageous dialogue, and community engagement is not only valued, but vital to our shared artistic and educational success. Stages Theater Company creates a welcoming home for all. For over 30 years, Stages has supported quality theater programming for children. Stages gives opportunities for youth to be on stage, backstage, in the audience, and in the classroom. Whether you come to see a show, enroll a young person in a workshop, or benefit from their outreach programs in the community, Stages brings art to life. Learn about Stages Theater by going to stagestheater.org and become part of the magic of live theater by taking your family to an amazing show or enrolling someone you love in an education program. Stages Theater Company operates out of the Hopkins Center for the Arts, located in Main Street in the heart of downtown Hopkins. For more information on Stages Theater, go to stagestheater.org. That's stagestheater.org. Connections Radio Show wants to feature your favorite nonprofits as well as the arts that mean the most to you. Do you have a nonprofit you care about or an artist that you'd like to have featured on Connections Radio Show? We have very reasonable advertising and sponsorship packages that would provide for an on-air segment or perhaps a whole show. Interested? I'm Lori Fitz, and contact me at fitzradio@gmail.com. That's FITZ radio@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
Our Twin Cities culinary scene has a lot to celebrate. That's just what we're going to do on February 25th at the Pantages Theater. The Charlie Awards is the local culinary version of the Academy Awards for the Twin Cities restaurant industry. Proceeds from the event go to Open Arms, a nonprofit that delivers healthy, made-from-scratch meals to people with life-threatening illnesses. Your ticket to the award ceremony is also your passport to the after party, with food, drinks, entertainment, and a chance to hobnob with the current and previous Charlie's winners. Following on the heels of the Charlies, just 2 weeks later, on March 12th, a VIP reception and dinner will be held at Open Arms. So mark your calendars. February 25th for the awards and after party, and March 12th for the VIP event. To buy tickets, go to info@charliesexceptional.com and be sure to check out the fun on our website, charliesexceptional.com.
Welcome back to Connections Radio Show. I'm your host, Lori Fitz, and we've had just a wonderful conversation with two executive directors for artistic organizations. We've had our friend Michael John Peace, who is the executive director of Park Square Theater, and our friend Christopher Tykalo, who is the executive director of Minnesota LGBTA One Voice Mixed Chorus. And in our last segment, we were talking about Sanctuary, which is a celebration of our Minnesota immigrants.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be an amazing concert.
Great concert and also an opportunity for advocacy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, get to know your immigrant neighbors. Get out to festivals to learn more about the immigrant cultures that make Minnesota such a rich community.
And we have some great ones in town.
Absolutely,
we love having a culture that is filled with multicultural opportunities.
Yes, exactly.
So you also were mentioning a little bit about refugees.
So just some information that we have in our program. We're talking about refugee status, and a refugee is a legal status offering resettlement in the U.S. to protect people fleeing persecution, and that all refugees are immigrants, but not all immigrants are refugees. Mm-hmm. And so that's
they have a special
point.
Status, right?
Correct.
And there are ways that we can support them as well.
Exactly. Join the ACLU, join the Interfaith Coalition on Immigration for their monthly faith action vigils at the Ramsey County Detention Center. Just get involved. Talk to your representatives at the state level and express your concerns.
We'll be putting up some of your suggestions on our website, and that's fitzradio.com. fitz-radio.com, and we'll have it on our calendar and some suggestions that will link back to your page.
That would be awesome.
Yep, we're happy to do that.
Thank you.
And I also wanted to mention your season. We talked a little bit about Park Square season. Want to get back to your One Voice. We start off with Sanctuary, and one more time, it's January 19th and January 21st at the Ordway. On the 19th, it's 7:30. On the 21st, it's 3:30. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, free concert, Faith Mennonite Church, 2720 East 22nd Street. The next program is in April, the Transgender Voices Festival. Tell me about that.
That is correct. So One Voice hosted a Transgender Voices Festival back in 2004, and we felt that it was time to bring that back. And so we are hosting a Transgender Voices Festival, and we're very excited about it. It will be April 13th and 14th at Macalester College, and we will be bringing in transgender artists from around the country who will be hosting workshops. And this is an opportunity not only for the trans community to work on voice and storytelling, but it's also an opportunity for music educators and choral conductors to come and learn about how to work with their trans students or their trans singers. So that'll be a really exciting opportunity, and that'll culminate in a performance at Macalester. And
then Roots and Wings 30th anniversary concert.
Yes, and that will be Pride Weekend, June 23rd, 24th, at the Ordway Concert Hall.
Now, I also want to have our audience know about your spring auditions. They're coming up Monday, January 29th. So tell me about that.
So yes, we will after our concerts coming up here tonight and next weekend, we will have auditions. And to learn more about auditions, you'll want to go to our website, onevoicemn.org, and you'll want to sign up for an appointment to audition.
And everyone is welcome and encouraged to be part of One Voice.
So absolutely, we would love to have people come and audition. Just so that we are Minnesota's LGBTA. A stands for allies, and we have about 30% of our chorus are straight allies, and so it'd be great to have people sign up and audition
and be part of a rich community.
Yes, exactly.
So this has been about you're coming up to your year, aren't you, as being executive director?
So just a little over a year.
Yeah.
I think about 15, 16 months now, yeah.
So how has that been going
so
for you?
it's been going very well.
You've been with One Voice for many years, right? Or
no,
you were
actually,
you were part of it in some way.
Sort of. So prior to joining One Voice, I worked for the Gay Men's Chorus for a number of years, and so have had a relationship with One Voice through my work there, and joined the family a little over a year ago. So.
And it's going well.
It's been great, yes.
Terrific.
I will say being a two-executive director household
Yes?
has its complications sometimes. But we all understand cash flow so much better as a household.
Exactly.
Or I should say the lack thereof.
Well, I think one of the things that I'm looking forward to is your Pirates of Penzance. Maybe there'll be some things that were inspiring from last year's concert, the outdoor concert, that now will be going indoors for you. Do you have any last words for us to be considering?
Well, we are, yes. We're going to be having an opportunity, so it could be for One Voice singers or anyone else, although it's not a singing role, to have a guest Queen Victoria every night. So, yes, you may nominate yourself or your neighbors now to come up and be on stage at the last minute. You'll be in the audience as Queen Victoria, and then you get to go up on stage.
Oh my God! So tell me, how does that work? So if you nominate someone, you select them, they actually come to the show.
Yep. And then there'll be a quick kind of walkthrough beforehand, and then you can go have your dinner or what have you, and then come back and get in your costume and be in the show. And then the cast will be practiced at getting you up on stage. So, and, in the spirit of inclusivity, we're doing multiracial casting and cross-gender casting, so you can be any kind of Queen Victoria you want to be.
Very nice.
Yes. And anything else that you'd like to share with us about stories that are going on with One Voice?
I honestly can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I would love to share something from your fundraising breakfast.
Oh, good.
Back in the winter. It did really strike me with those, one reason that allies join the chorus is that their vocal range doesn't match their gender. We heard really stirring witness from a woman who actually is the vice principal at Johnson.
Assistant principal, yeah.
Assistant principal at Johnson, who, when she was getting her music degree, had to do a vocal class. And they said she was an alto, and she's like, but I'm not. And she couldn't sing all those notes. And then her scores were reflective of, well, if you'd have just tried harder. Oh. And so one of the ways she found One Voice was it's a place to be a woman who's a tenor. It's like, be a good tenor, not a bad alto. I also think the other reason that allies get involved in the chorus is a great way to make new friends and bring your family up in an inclusive atmosphere. There are several chorus babies at One Voice who've grown up with them. So that's a wonderful spirit that they give when they're on stage.
And I do want to give one more plug before we're done, not only to go see these plays, but support art. That's another way to advocate. So you mentioned the fundraising breakfast. You can support both One Voice and Park Square, and your donation helps support art to keep doing the transformational work that it does and being out there and allowing the world to be envisioned in a new way. So consider parksquaretheater.org and Minnesota Voices.
Right. OneVoiceMN.org.
Yes.
One Voice Mixed Chorus, Minnesota's LGBTA chorus, returns to the Ordway Concert Hall for Sanctuary, an unforgettable evening of choral music celebrating the music of immigrants who make Minnesota home, including